We all know how difficult it feels when after doing something or saying something, the same mind that forced us to do that action, the same mind that pushed us to do that action, turns back at us and say, why did you do that? Why did you say that? You shouldn't have done that. We spend a lot of time regretting about our past actions, the things that we have done or said in the past. It turns out 75% of people spend a significant amount of their lifetime regretting about either about past or being fear about the future, right? So if you think that you're the only person who is regretting about the past actions, you are not. We all are. We all are in the same boat, right? So the Buddha realized that regretting over the past actions is one of the biggest issues when it comes to the peace of the human mind. So that is why the Buddha gives a straightforward answer for this question, how to stay away from regrets in life. The Buddha says, first, be mindful about your actions. And by doing something, if the result leads to suffering of yourself or suffering to others, stay away from doing such actions. That is the first thing to do, right? But how to put it into action? How to not to collect the things or to do things that brings regret to our life? So the Buddha gave us an amazing advice to practice this, amazing practice. Buddha describes this to his former son, Rahula. Before becoming the Buddha, he was a prince and he had a son. His name was Rahula. Later, he became a monk, right? And he gave this amazing advice to Venerable Rahula. The Buddha asked from Venerable Rahula, Rahula, what do you think? What is the purpose of a mirror? Then Venerable Rahula says, the purpose of a mirror is to see the reflection, to check the reflection, sir. Then the Buddha says, in the same way, Rahula, you have to understand that before doing something or before saying something, you have to thoroughly reflect on that action. You have to ask from yourself that this action that I'm wishing to do, will it bring suffering to my life? Will it bring suffering to others' life? Am I doing this action with an unwholesome mind? If the answer is yes, then the Buddha says, by all means, you have to stay away from such actions. Because the things that we do with an unwholesome mind, the Buddha says that the end result is the suffering. So the Buddha explains this in the first verse in the Dhammapada. The Buddha says, if someone did something with an unwholesome mind, suffering follows that person like a cart wheel follows an ox, right? So what Buddha teaches us is that before doing something or before saying something, just wisely reflect on it, right? Thoroughly reflect on it. What will be the consequence of this action? Is it going to hurt myself? Is it going to hurt others, right? And then the Buddha says, when you reflect on your actions, if you found out that the actions that you are wishing to do will bring happiness to yourself, the actions that you are going to do will bring the happiness to other people, and if you are doing this action with an wholesome mind, by all means, do that, because that brings the peace and happiness to your life. So that is where the practice of mindfulness comes into play, right? Because in mindfulness, we don't do things mindfully. What we do is we become mindful about what we do, right? We understand why we are doing what we are doing, right? Most of the time, the reason why we collect regretful actions to our life is because we don't know why we are doing what we are doing, right? So the first step is to understand what is the purpose of this action? What is the intention behind my actions? When you become mindful about the consequence of such actions, then you can make a good choice to stay away from the things that brings the regret to our life, right? So that is the first thing to do. The first thing is to be mindful and to thoroughly reflect on our actions and to stay away from the things that brings the regret to our life. That is the first step. And then the Buddha realized that as an average person, you can't reflect on each and every action that you do, right? That mindfulness is not that that developed enough for each and every person. So as an average person, we all will make mistakes. We will all do wrong things. Then the Buddha gave an amazing solution for this problem, for this regret. The Buddha says, if you have done something that is regretful, do not hide it. That is what Buddha says. The Buddha says, if you have done something, if you are regretting about a past action, if you are regretting about something that you have done in the past or said in the past, first thing you have to do is you should not hide it. Find a person who can understand you. The Buddha says that reveal it to your spiritual teacher, right? Find a person who can understand you, or reveal it to your spiritual companions, right? Find a community of people who can understand you, who does not judge you, who can give a good guidance to you, and reveal it to them, right? Do not hide it. Do not conceal it. Open it up in front of wise people. Now, there are two amazing things that happens when you reveal yourself or when you confess yourself in front of wise people. What are the two things? The first thing is that it frees up your mind, right? It releases your stress and the tension and that negative energy that is building up in your mind, right? And that will lead to not to repeat this same action again and again. The problem with concealing and hiding a past mistake is that the more we hide it, the more there will be a probability for it to repeat. If you reveal it, then it frees up it releases your heart, right? And also it releases that negative energy that is building up within you. That is the first thing that happens to you. The second thing is that you will get a wonderful guidance, good guidance to overcome that action, right? You will get the help from the community around you, right? So the first thing is to not to do something that is regretful. That is the first thing to do. To do that, we need to build up the mindfulness, right? And to reflect on our actions before doing them. And the second thing is that if there are things that we are regretting about the past, we have to reveal it. You have to talk about it and let it out from your heart. So these are the two things that we have to do when it comes to regret. So the Buddha showed us that understanding the mistake as a mistake and accepting it and disciplining yourself to not to repeat it again will help you to free up your mind and bring peace and happiness to all of our minds. So that is why we all need, and it is very important for all of us to practice the mindfulness, practice the reflection on our own actions, and also to be brave enough to confess the mistakes that we have done in the past. So I hope you got some idea about this mindfulness and confession. So hope to see you in another video. See you in the next week. Namo Buddhaya. How do I become a Buddhist and how I convert to Buddhism? This is an FAQ that most of the Buddhist monks being asked by people, They ask like, how can I become an officially Buddhist, How can I convert to Buddhism? Well, when you ask that question, it is very difficult to give an exact way of converting to Buddhism, like ceremonial way, because in other religions there is this process. There is a ceremonial way of converting to that religion, like baptism, right? But it is in Buddhism, and there is no process or there is no ceremony of baptism, right? But the process, the way that is a process that is very closer to the conversion, that you can say converting to Buddhism, is going for refuge to the triple gems or going for refuge to the three refuges in Buddhism. Now, we've discussed about the three refuges in Buddhism in another video. If you like to learn about what three jewels and three refuges in Buddhism are, you can check out that video as well. So the three jewels or three refuges in Buddhism is, first one is the Buddha, right? Or the historical Buddha himself. And the second jewel or second refuge in Buddhism is the Dhamma, the Buddha's teachings. And the third refuge is the Sangha or the monastic community. So if you follow the Buddhist path, one must take refuge in these three refuges, right? Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Buddha and Buddha's teachings and the monastic community. Now, why we go refuge to the Buddha? There's a reason behind it. We go for refuge to the Buddha considering him as our inspiration, right? We always look up to his life, way of life, right? And we adopt those valuable qualities to our life. We try to follow his life, character, right? Although we can't follow it for the perfection, we must try to do that. We must learn from his life, right? So as the inspiration, as the role model of our spiritual path, spiritual practice, we go refuge to the Buddha. That is the purpose behind going refuge to the Buddha. And the second, the Dhamma, the Buddha's teachings, why we go for refuge to the Buddha's Dhamma or Buddha's teachings is because it provides the framework for the spiritual practice, right? It provides this framework to us to follow the path. Okay, so we must have the confidence to follow that. It doesn't mean that you have to blindly believe it, right? It doesn't mean that you have to have the blind faith. You cannot have any questions, right? In Buddhism, there is no anything that is unquestionable, right? Everything can be questioned, right? You may have doubts, you can have doubts, right? Doubts are always seen as sign of improvements according to Buddhism, because Buddha says that if someone thinks, right? If someone thinks about the reality of life, he may have some questions, right? So that he goes on asking the questions, what is the meaning behind this life, right? What should I know? How should I see this life? So when he asks questions, then he gets the answers, okay? In that way, he must seek something. So in Buddhism, we follow the Buddha's teachings by asking questions and by self-exploration and putting it into practice, not just because merely we believe in it, okay? That is the purpose of going refuge to the Buddha's teachings. It provides us the spiritual framework. And why we go for refuge to the Sangha or the monastic community is because they provide us the spiritual support, the living spiritual support, right? So to get that spiritual support, we need to have confidence on them. So what we do, we go for refuge to the Sangha, right? So these are the three refuges in Buddhism. Now, how to go refuge to the Buddha and Dhamma and Sangha, or these three jewels and three refuges? There is this traditional way of doing it, that is by chanting it, that Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. We chant it for 3 times. And that is the traditional way of going for refuge. You can closely say that this is the way of converting to Buddhism. But here's the thing. Just because you said it, or just because you chanted that Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, I go for refuge to the Buddha, I go for refuge to the Dhamma, I go for refuge to the Sangha, the monastic community, doesn't mean you actually become a Buddhist, right? Because all these refuges follows and it provides a purpose. We need something to do in it. So what we need to do is we need to follow the path, follow the practice, follow the Buddha's advice, right? If you're following the Buddha's advice and if you're putting it into practice, okay, if you're practicing it within you, then you can call yourself as a Buddhist. But understand, the term Buddhist did not exist in the Buddha's time, right? One of the closest words that we can find, that is, we can call to as a Buddhist, is an ancient word is Buddha Savaka, which gives the meaning of listeners of the Buddha or followers of the Buddha, right? So to become a follower of the Buddha, you can't just merely chant it and just it becomes okay. It doesn't happen like that. Okay, what do you have to do? If you are a follower, you must follow it. You must practice it, right? And confidence in Buddhism or faith in Buddhism always seen like a questionable way of understanding, right? Explore it by yourself, see it for yourself, find it for yourself, and then take it into yourself. Okay, so that is the way to become a Buddhist in the true Buddhist, right? Remember that just because you said that you are a Buddhist, or just because you chanted these lines that I go for refuge to the Buddha, doesn't mean that you truly become a Buddhist. What you have to do is put it into practice. Live in that practice. Okay, so I hope you got some idea about how to become a Buddhist. So, in a short answer, there is no conversion or no baptism in Buddhism. What you need to do is follow the Buddha's path. Keep this in your mind. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. The other day, when I was doing a speech, there came a question from the audience. The question said, no matter how much I planned the new year, I failed to achieve these goals at the end. What is the reason? And turns out this is a problem for many people, right? We all plan the new year, we all plan in the beginning, but we fail at the end. What is the problem? The reason for this problem is we are trying to do more. But in reality, what makes your dreams come true, what helps you to achieve the goals in your life is not by doing more. It is by doing less. But it is a little bit contradictory to the society, the idea of the society, no? Because the society will say to you that do more and then you will achieve more. But in reality, to achieve more, you should not do more. You have to do less. Now, what do I mean by doing less? Doing less means doing something that is important. Removing all the unnecessary, unimportant things in your life and doing what is important. Giving the priority to what is important, what matters the most, right? And also, if you give this priority to what is important to you, right? If you ask the question, what is important to me in my life? What should I build up? What qualities should I build up in my life to make my life a success? And now you focus on that quality, the important task, important goal, and you keep doing it, right? The reason why we fail to achieve the important things in life, because our important goals, our main goals, our crucial goals are covered with these unimportant things, unimportant achievements in life, which does not help us in the long run, okay? And also there's another problem, and that is we have lots of expectations. That means too much expectations. It is okay to have expectations, right? It is okay to have dreams, it is okay to have goals, but it is not okay to have too much expectations. Why? Because sometimes when we have too much expectations, our expectations and our reality have a big gap. It has a big gap, right? So when we fail to achieve these expectations, what happens to our mind is we become discouraged because we are not getting what we expected. And then what happens? We suffer. We hate ourselves. We blame ourselves. The more we blame, the more we hate ourselves, the less we try to achieve things, because we label ourselves, okay, I can't do these things. I'm not someone who is courageous. I'm not someone who is brave to do these things, right? No matter how much I try, I fail. That is the nature of mine. The more you label that, the more you give that name to yourself, I am a failure, I can't do these things, what happens? The more you can't do those things, right? So the most important thing is to have moderate expectations. It is not to have, I'm not saying that you should not have expectations. Yes, you should have, right? And also you should not have too much expectations, right? You have to find that sweet spot. You have to have that moderate expectations. I will do my best. This is one advice that was given to me when I started preaching and giving speeches. One of my elder monks, one of my brother elder monks, he said to me, when you step into the stage, don't think that you're going to ace the speech and you're going to earn a standing ovation from the audience. Don't think that. Don't think about it. And also, don't walk into the stage without lack of confidence, right? You have to have a confidence that is moderate, right? You have to have a confidence that is moderate where you think yourself, I will do my best, right? I come to this stage, I step into this stage to share something valuable from the Buddha's teachings, and I will do my best to share it. It is when you have that moderate expectations, what happens? Although you fail at some points, right? You know that you will fail. You have accepted that, yes, you are imperfect, you will fail in life, right? And that failure, the pain from that failure is less painful than when we have the high expectations. So the most important thing is to have moderate expectations. And one of the most important qualities that we need to have in our mind to achieve the goals and the dreams in our life is to focus on little changes in life, not the big changes. Most of the time people ask, like, how can I change my life in a bigger way? How can I make big changes in my life? To make big changes in your life, start from making little changes. That is what helps you to, that is what makes you the bigger changes in life, right? For an example, like, let's say you're in a stressful condition, right? You're stressed and you're worried about things, and you feel like you're going through like a dark hole. What can you do? You try to solve the problem, right? You try to solve the bigger problem. But the reason for that bigger problem is not always the immediate reason. The reason for a big problem is not always the immediate reason. It is a series of problems, series of changes that had happened throughout our life, and it make that big change, big problem. So what do you have to do? Go into the roots of the problem. What made it change? What went wrong? And when you find that smallest mistake that made it wrong, you have to correct that. You have to make that correct and work upward, right? Let's say you feel a little bit stressed or anxious, or you feel the negative energy around you. What can you do to stop this? First, stand up, and then you can clean your surrounding, right? By cleaning the surrounding, it adds some sort of a positive energy around you. And after that, you can meditate a little bit. Clean yourself, clean your body a little bit, clean your clothes, right? Clean your surroundings. That positive energy will make a little bit of positive change in your life. And that positive change will lead you to make big changes, big positive changes in life, right? So one of the most important things is to focus on little changes, right? That is why in Dhammapada, the Buddha says, by degrees, little by little, from moment to moment, a wise man removes his own impurities, as a smith removes dross of silver or gold. Now, when a silversmith or a goldsmith, when he cleans the silver, or like a block of silver or gold, he or she can't do it easily, right? It takes a big time, right? It takes a huge time to clean this block of gold, right? In the same way, little by little, you have to improve little by little, right? So that is why I found this wonderful quote that I read recently. It says, learn a little bit, apply a little bit, improve a little bit every single day. Isn't that wonderful? Learn a little bit, apply a little bit, improve a little bit every single day. That is what we have to do. So I invite all of you to learn a little bit and apply a little bit and improve a little bit and change a little bit in this new year. So I wish you all, may all of you be happy and healthy. Welcome back to another video. From today's video, we're going to answer one of the most frequently asked questions in Buddhism. Can we change our karma? Or can we change our past karma? Can we do anything about it? Now, to understand about this, first we need to understand what karma is. Now, in almost all the Indian religions, there are a lot of teachings about karma. Karma is a bigger teaching in almost all the Indian religions. In Hinduism, in Jainism, in Buddhism, there are a lot of teachings about karma. But the Buddhist approach of karma, or the Buddhist way of definition of karma, is slightly different than the other Indian religions, right? So this is how Buddha defined the karma. The Buddha says, Chetanahang bhikkhave kammang vadami. Monks, I say, intention is the karma. So when it comes to these statements from the Buddha means, what Buddha means is that karma, the action, is more of a mind-related thing. That is why the Buddha says intention is karma. So intentions are generated in our mind. So what Buddha saw is that it is not just the action, it is the intention behind the action what defines the karma. So this is the Buddhist definition of karma. Now we'll come to the question. What is it? Can we change the karma? Right? Now, first of all, we need to correct the question and then answer it. Why? Because karma, what people mean by asking, can we change karma, is that can I change what I have done in the past, and can I change the consequences of those karma? Okay? So first we need to understand that karma, or this intention, is generated right now, right here. Right? The karma is not something that is past. Karma is something that you do right now, this present moment. Right? So this present moment, the karma can be changed. Why? Because it is always your choice. The choice is a karma. Your choice is totally under your control. Some people think that, okay, our choices and our experiences are not totally under our control. The choices that we make are predetermined, or due to the past karma, we make choices right now. But Buddha did not agree to this idea. What Buddha says is, yes, your life is affected by the past karma, but it is not the only thing that your life is affected. But you can change your karma by making good choices, by taking the right action. That is why Buddha praised a lot about the taking right action. So understand that karma happens right now, and that means the karma is totally under your control. But what people ask is that, can I change the karma? No. First you need to correct the question, can we change the consequences of our karma? Which means vipaka. Now, with the package of karma, there comes another word which is not much famous, and that is vipaka. Vipaka means the consequences of karma. So basically what karma is, the cause and effect phenomena. That means we make causes for something and there will be an effect because of that cause. We do some actions and then we get consequences of those actions. So this is the basic understanding of karma. So can we change vipaka? It is not totally under our control. We don't know what we have done in the past. So the only thing that we can do is just to go through those experiences. Now, it is also important to remember that our life is not totally dependent on karma. Karma is only one thing that our life is affected. Okay? So let's say you're going through a consequence of your past karma. So can you do anything about that? You can't do it, because only thing that you can do is you have to face that experience. But you can change how you react to that experience, right? Whether it is good or bad, you can take right action, right choice, right now, right here, to face that in a good way. So if we take the right action and right choice right here, then we can stop the karma repeating again and again. Right? Let's say you're going through a bad experience due to a past karma, and if you react the same way, right? If you fall down, if you become angry, if you spread hate because of that pain and suffering, then you create some more suffering karma to go through some bad experiences in the future. But if you take right action and if you become wise and patient and mindful, then you can stop the karma from repeating. So in that way, you take control of your choices. So understand, basically, there is very few space for us to take control of what we have done in the past and the consequences of them, but we totally have the control that we make the choice right now, right here. So keep this beautiful advice from the Buddha in your heart and be happy. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. Today it is raining and it is quite misty out here and it is very peaceful. It is about rain. I have read this somewhere else. I cannot remember the quote. It says, rain feeds two types of people. Okay, rain is the food for two types of people. The first one is the meditator, and the second one is the lazy person. Okay, for a meditator, for a person who likes to meditate, rain is the best food and it is the best environment. Okay, and also for the lazy person, it is the best environment for him as well. Okay, so let's talk about the meditation today a little bit. So what about the vipassana? How to practice it? Now, vipasana gives the meaning, the word gives the meaning that to see something clearly, to see something as it is. Okay, this practice was introduced by the Buddha himself. Okay, so how can we practice it? There's one verse that Buddha explains about the vipassana. It is very nice, and the Buddha says, "Atitang nanva gameya napati kanke anagatang." That means, do not run into past and do not hope for the future. Yadatitang pahinatang apatang cha anagatang. What is past, it is gone. And what is future hasn't yet come. Okay? And then the Buddha said, Pachupannanchayo dhammang tattha tattha vipassati. Everything that occurs in this present moment are conditioned. Everything that we experience and we sense in this world are conditioned, that they arise due to conditions. Pachupannanchayo dhammang tattha tattha vipassati. You have to wisely reflect on all those things, all those sensations that occurs in this present moments, and wisely. Okay, that is about the vipassana. Vipassana is all about bringing your mind into this present moment and become the observer in it. Now, normally we react to everything that we sense. Okay, there are lots of sensations coming from this outer world, and what happens with us is we react to them always. Okay, either it is with the consciousness, we consciously react to something, and also sometimes unconsciously we react to certain things. Okay, so the Buddha said, be mindful about those sensations and do not react. Instead of reacting, try to observe it. Do not judge the thoughts, do not judge the feelings, be the observer. Okay, for an example, let's say you got blamed by someone. Okay, and you come home with this mind inside you, all those words inside you, all those insults inside you, and you come home and you sit on the bed, maybe lie down on the bed and look at the ceiling, and you start to worry. Okay, but the reality, let's take the reality of this situation. Okay, now let's say someone is insulting you. When someone insults you, you hear that sound in that moment, in the present moment. As soon as that person finished insulting you, everything that he has spoken is gone. Isn't that true? What you heard, what you heard is gone. Now, what I have spoken before in the beginning of this video is gone now. It's finished. Okay, it has vanished. But deep in our mind, we recreate all those sensations, we recreate all those emotions and feelings and all those words in our mind, and we start to worry about it. Sometimes we start to be happy about certain things. If that makes you happy, we start to be happy about it. Isn't that true? That is the thing. So what Buddha said is, be mindful about it. Just observe it. Do not try to react to your thoughts. Okay, when the happiness comes in, we don't try to suppress our thoughts. And also we don't try to express our thoughts. What we can do is we can be in the middle and we can observe the thoughts. Okay, when happiness comes in, we let that comes in. We let that come in and we become the observer. Do not react. Not reacting. Just see it arise and see it pass away. Okay, it is something that you watch a traffic by the side of the road. You sit down the side of the road and you watch the traffic. You watch the vehicles pass by. You don't try to stop the vehicles. You don't try to run behind the vehicles. We just try to observe it. We just try to notice it. And we see these vehicles come into our field of vision and it goes away. And you start to realize that every sensation, when you observe your feelings, when you observe all the sensations that happens within you, you start to feel that nothing stays forever. It is impermanent. It has the nature of arising and it has the nature of passing away. Every sensation, everything that we feel in, and everything that we feel in our world is impermanent. So that is what about the vipassana. When you practice that, you can go into a silent place, maybe sit down on a chair, maybe sit down on the floor and close your eyes, and slowly you can observe what comes into your mind. Okay, and be the observer. Do not try to react with them. Okay, when you see happiness come in, you see that happiness come in and you observe it and it goes away. When you see that sad thoughts come in, you feel that and you observe it and you let it go. That is how you become mindful. And when you practice vipassana, when you do that, you start to realize that one thing in every aspect and every sensation in your life, and that is impermanence. Once you realize this nature of impermanence, that is what you call the realization of truth. Okay, so keep that in your mind and practice it. Namo Buddhaya. Once, a student monk went to his master and said, "Master, I can't live in this temple anymore. I want to leave this place and go to a peaceful and quiet monastery." Then the master monk asked, "Why? What's wrong with this temple? Tell me what happened." Then the student monk said, "See, everyone in this temple are toxic to me. There are some monks who are too much into politics in this temple. And there are some other monks who always talks negative stuff about me and about others. And there are some others who spend their whole day doing nothing but just gossiping. I don't think that I can practice my spiritual life in this temple. Please let me go to a peaceful and a quiet monastery where there is no toxic people around me." Then the master monk said, "Okay, I will let you go, but before going, you have to do me a favor for the one last time." Then the student monk said, "Tell me, master, what should I do for you?" Then the master monk took a spoonful of water and gave it to the student monk and said, "You must carry this spoonful of water around the monastery and you should bring it to me. But here's the trick. You must never spill a single drop of water from it. If you can do it, I will let you go to a peaceful monastery." So thinking that the master will let him go to a peaceful monastery by completing this weird request, the student monk took the spoonful of water and carried it around the monastery, fully focused and without spilling a single drop from it. So after a few hours, the student monk came back to the master with a happy face and said, "Master, I did it. I carried this spoonful of water all around the monastery, even without spilling a drop from it. So now, let me go to a peaceful monastery." Then the master monk said, "Okay, my student, you are free to go. But before you go, just tell me one thing. While you is all about what we focus in our life. The more we focus on other people's behaviors, other people's words, other people's lives, there will be many toxic people around us. But if we are focused on ourselves, our goals, our purpose, all those negative stuff will become nothing but just a noise. See, it is easy to criticize other people. It is easy to see the dark side and the negative side of people. But it takes a heart of bravery and kindness to see the bright side of people. We all have imperfections in our life. We all make mistakes. We all make bad choices. And all those faults, imperfections are the things that makes us who we are. So when you work with people or when you are on social media, you will come across with people that you don't like. You will come across with ideas that you don't agree with. Remember, in all those times, you have the power to choose whether to react with negativity or to respond to them with positivity. Ladies and gentlemen, it is all about what you choose to do and what you focus in your life. So, focus on yourself and choose to respond to them with positivity. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. It is quite easy to be patient and to be calm when the life goes smoothly. But where our real patience comes into test is in the middle of adversity. So being able to put up with ups and downs and challenging situations and disagreeable experiences in life is called patience. But to be honest, it is really difficult to be patient. Yes, it is difficult. It is going to be difficult, and it will be always difficult. It will never be easy, because that's the nature of all good practices in life. The Buddha said, what brings the happiness to your life? To practice such qualities is the most difficult thing that you have to do in your life. But although it is difficult, we all have to practice this amazing quality of being patient. Now, in Buddhism, being silent, tolerating, and enduring everything out of fear does not mean the real patience. In Buddhism, the real patience comes with a deeper meaning of life. When someone has a deeper meaning of his life, and when someone knows the true nature of life, then it's very easy for that person to be patient and to practice the amazing quality of patience. Normally, when we tolerate and when we become silent, the reason why we become silent is because of the fear. Sometimes we have no choice to do anything, right? In that case, we become silent. But the Buddha says that that is not the true patience. Someone can see such kind of a person and say, oh, he is patient. But that's not the true patience, because that person doesn't have the power. That person doesn't have the authority to do something, right? So being patient out of fear is not the true patience. The Buddha says about the real patience like this. In Vipasana Sutta, it is mentioned, when a person endowed with strength patiently endures a weakling, they call that the supreme patience. The weakling must be patient always. So the real patience comes when you understand that there is the beast inside you. What is that beast? The anger. And if you're afraid of that anger, and if you're afraid of that beast to control your life, and if you can be patient in that situation by controlling your emotions and controlling your thoughts and controlling your anger and deciding to not to harm that person, that is called the true patience and the real patience. To practice such kind of a patience, you have to do a great dedication. Sometimes you have to go through a lot of hardships. You have to endure a lot. But still, why you become patient? Because you believe that being patient is the greatest virtue that you can practice in life. And you believe that you are much more better than them, and you have a better qualities than them, things that we cannot control. So if you look at the life, if you look at the situations in your life, in these 3 marks of existence, the Buddha said that it is really easy to practice the patience. It is really easy to love people, to give your kindness to people, because we know that we are not going to last forever, and we know that they are not going to last forever. What they did was not going to last forever. What they said was not going to last forever. So we can let go of the anger and we can move on. So these are the few things and few realizations that will help us to practice the patience in your life. So keep this in your mind and be patient. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. We all know that it is really, really difficult to find our own mistakes and our own faults and correct them. But it is really easy to point out other people's mistakes and find other people's faults. Be focused on ourselves. Once you realize that no one in this world is perfect, then it is very easy to understand about why they make mistakes and why people keep doing wrong things and faults. You should care about the mistakes that they do. They are the people who live closely to your life. They are the people who love you most. They are the people who you love most. Always remember, when you see such people's mistakes, there is a way to correct them. Okay, it is okay to find the faults on those people, but there is a way to approach them. There is a way to correct them. Do not choose the easiest way to correct other people's mistake. What is the easiest way? Using the anger and using the violence to correct mistakes on other people. This is not a productive way. If you truly love someone, if you truly care about other people's life, their life, you should approach them to correct their mistake in a more productive way. So you should think, what is the most productive way that I can correct their mistakes? Not to just to hold on to not to make them hold on to their own mistakes and keep on doing it. Not just to make them more stubborn on their mistake. So when you consider about that, you find the easiest way and you find the correct way to approach them. The best way to correct someone's mistake is to speak to them privately, not in publicly. Speak to them privately and just explain what mistakes that they are doing. Okay, and explain the consequences of the mistakes. And also, you have to praise and you have to appreciate the good things that they do. The more you see the good side and the bright side of the people, it is very easy to approach them and correct their mistakes. The more we see the negative side or the dark side of the people, here's one thing happen: you lose the ability to communicate. Because we are reminiscing and we just keep thinking about that, or the negative idea or the negative